House of the Dragon Season 3 finally wrapped up with their final 8th episode, and we have been able to see just so much go on in this season. I am a fan of the whole Game of Thrones and the Game of Thrones universe that they have going on and what George R. R. Martin has created. Now, we can get into the specifics of the last season of Game of Thrones, but that's for a later time. Let's talk about this season of House of the Dragon. I have loved House of the Dragon since the first episode. I've always been a fan of the writing inside of each episode. It feels like you are in a period piece. The way that they're speaking to each other, the way that conversations are had, and the execution of it with the actors and their dialogue sequences, amazing. I love old-timey talk. We'll just call it that. Old-timey talk is my favorite, and something that I know that the Odyssey was lacking. Look at House of the Dragon. Watch just even 30 minutes of one episode, and they are able to talk in that old-timey talk while still keeping the audience engaged and up to date on events that are happening inside of each episode. Dragons are awesome. I think that they were able to include the dragons in this season in a well thought out way. I know that there have been some episodes in the past seasons where, or even the seasons themselves, that they didn't do the best at including the dragons when the whole show is called House of the Dragon. But it was good seeing them in this season. I loved the way that they are showing now Vermithor and Caraxes and Syrax, and now a couple other dragons have surfaced in this season that we'll see. Sheepstealer is great. So without spoiling anything, the first 2 episodes were just like gut-wrenching. There was crazy stuff that happened with some main characters, and you'll have to see. Moving on from that though, Rhaenyra's grasp of power and moving to the Red Keep is something to truly enjoy. Mainly because she is a queen who doesn't know how to be a queen just yet. She knows power, but does she know responsibility? And so we get to see some of that come to life on screen as we're watching her deal with her subjects and find her small council, trying to put people together to actually help her run the kingdom. Emma Darcy and Matt Smith are just awesome playing these 2 characters on screen. Matt Smith, I remember growing up with him as the Doctor on Doctor Who, and now seeing him in this role is just so fun to see this like anti-hero-ish king who doesn't really want to be ran by his wife, but still goes off and does his own things, but it's for the queen. And there's just this tension of their relationship in this season, and it's great. We get a few deaths of main characters in this season, I will say that, without spoiling anyone who dies. They are kind of sad, and kind of like, man, now what are they gonna do after? Because this character was set up. We saw the same thing happen in Game of Thrones. I was devastated when Ned Stark died. And that's not a spoiler because the show's been out since 2011. So, set design, just spectacular. I wish we can get set designers for movies to actually do architecture in specific buildings and stuff. Because, man, the architecture in the sets were just awesome, and I loved when they didn't have to use visual effects for the sets. They were all practical, at least from what I could tell, and even the plains and the green grasses, the forests, everything that they were doing on the battlefield looked real and part of a regular set. So I loved being immersed in that way of just on the battlefield with the greens or the blacks and watching them duke it out as they're going through this season. I think the overall story of Season 3 was great And I loved seeing Rhaenyra not only struggle for power and responsibility as the queen, but there is now a high tower being a pest for her, and she has to not be a monster for her people that she's trying to take care of, and go throughout this season trying to figure out how to work around dealing with this pest and what he is presenting to her situation on the throne. And then we also get to see Aegon in this season kind of go through some character development. Though he's still a monster, there is some development of him working off his cowardice to now being a powerful leader. So that was kind of cool, being able to see that come to fruition at the end of Season 3. If you haven't started watching House of the Dragon, I would definitely suggest doing that now. You have 3 seasons to go through, about 8 episodes each, all enjoyable, except that one nighttime scene. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Overall, this season of House of the Dragon was probably the best one yet. I am loving the character development from each character and being able to watch them go from season 1 to now season 3 of maybe 5 or 6 years of aging, but then they're still working on their characters as well, so they're kind of living as their characters in these seasons. So it's been great watching all of that. If you haven't already, I would say you can start now with season 1 of House of the Dragon. You don't need to catch up on anything Game of Thrones wise, because this happens a couple hundred years before. So go ahead and start on season 1, catch up to season 3, and be ready for season 4. I hope they're able to make multiple seasons of this show, and I would say go farther than Game of Thrones did. They have a lot of material to go off of, so it's easy for them to now not have to wait for George R.R. Martin to finish a book. They can just go off of what he's already written and add things here and there to enhance the story, which I think they've done great already. So if you haven't already, House of the Dragon Season 3 is great to see. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps us get more content rolling your way. We'll catch you on the next one.